Hello, guys. Good evening. It's a rainy uh, Thursday night here in the Philippines. There's this typhoon. We call it Typhoon Odette, but it has an international name. I'm not sure about the international name. It's going to make landfall in a few hours here where I live. So this is my time to make a video. If you remember last time, I made a can, I recycled the can, um, and also a glass jar. The glass jar, I made it something like with gems. Okay, so please look at my other videos on YouTube. And then I also made a can, a can of pork and beans, and I gave it a steampunk look. And then the third, I got a can of pineapple juice and um, decorated it with flowers and butterflies. So tonight I'm going to make another one. It's going to be something like magical, like a fairy tale. I'm going to decorate a can with fairies and maybe some flowers and mushrooms. So what are the things that we need? You need if you're going to make this. You need a can. So this is a pork and beans can. The one I'm going to use, I have already applied something there. I'll show it to you later. It's I suggest that you use the pineapple. Is it yeah, pineapple juice can, the the one like this. Um, I bought a can and use it in my cooking. So I used a neat can opener to remove the cover. Okay. You also need some paper. You can use brown paper. If you remember last time, I made something like this with brown paper. You can use brown paper, or better still, you can use newspaper. I suggest you use newspaper. It's softer and more workable than the brown paper. And when you apply glue, it really attaches well to the surface of the can. Now you would need craft glue, a small what we call platito or basin. And here I added equal parts of glue and water. Okay. You would need a brush. We would be needing some paints. Also, we would be needing. I had something printed. I got the images from Google. These are fairies. If you want, you can use fairies, or if you want it to be sea themed, you can use mermaids. It depends on you. I also have something printed for another project, some dragons. If you want yours to be, the design would be dragons and with shields and swords of like medieval soldiers and warriors, you can do that. It depends on you. But we're going to use fairies. You would also need a cutter. I have what we call X-Acto knife. This is very sharp, and it works better than the regular cutter that we buy at some stores, the cheaper ones. This cuts well, and when cutting it, I usually use a surface like a cutting mat. Okay, I bought this from the bookstore. Here you can cut it without harming your table. So now, also after that, we would be needing maybe artificial flowers if you want. If you don't have artificial flowers, you can make cutouts of flowers, or maybe cutouts of mushrooms, because fairies in books, in pictures, fairies usually sit on toadstools or mushrooms. Okay, you can use that. Now, I'm still planning what to do here because there are already wings, but I might use these metal wings because they really look nice. Okay? And once painted, they look gorgeous. So let's start with the first procedure. Again, the first procedure, as we did before, we cover the can with paper. Okay, let me lower the camera for you to see it. Okay, so here. Maybe you can hear the rain now. It's pouring. So what you do first is you get some glue, mix equal parts of glue and water, mix thoroughly, and then you can wipe the surface of your brown paper. I have a cardboard here. So a while ago I said it's better to use newspaper. Why? Look, I wipe glue here, and here it's just part of it is moist. So it means the the paper uh, can absorb the glue, but it's not really that absorbent. So let's use newspaper for you to see the difference. I ordered some plants before and I kept the newspaper. Okay, so some people, when they cover it with newspaper, they cut them into long strips. It's okay, it's fine. I like now cutting irregular shapes because it takes time to cut with scissors. Now look at this. With the newspaper, it's softer. Okay, it's really softer. So what you do, you just put it over your can, okay, like that, and then you cover all of it, all of the surface. Just wipe some glue, the mixture of glue and water, cover it. You make sure the excess you use to cover the insides. Okay, so that's what you do. Okay, now let's going to make it fast forward. I have a can here because this will take some time. Okay, and for us to be able to move faster, so remember, you cover this inside and out and underneath, don't forget. Okay, sometimes you can use also, you can dab the surface of the tissue of the newspaper to make sure it's really moistened with glue. Okay, so that's it. Now let's go to my sample. I have a sample here. I used brown paper. Okay, now once you have covered the can, the next procedure is for you to cover it with tissue paper. You can use the regular tissue paper, or you can use the tissue paper that you get when you eat outside, when you go to fast foods. Um, you crumple it so that it's softer. You put it on the surface, okay, and then you dab it with a mixture of glue and water. Now look here, okay, so just like that. There it is. You dab it. Okay. And you cover that also all around, inside and out. Now, why do we cover? Why did I choose to cover this with tissue paper? The tissue paper gives the can a texture. Okay, let me fix that. It gives it that crumpled look. So when it is dry and you start painting it, it would appear that it is very, very old. Okay, it's antique. Okay, so again, let's add some tissue paper. I crumple it. You put it there. You dab it again with some water and glue. Okay. Maybe make it 2 or 3 layers of tissue paper. Now, how long does it take to dry? Now it's raining and it's difficult to let it dry. So usually you can let it dry overnight. If you're using electric fan while you're sleeping, put your can covered with paper and tissue paper somewhere where it could be reached by the wind being blown by the electric fan. Okay, so that's it. Let's have the last piece. Crumple it. Teacher, can we apply it directly without crumpling it, yeah, it's okay. But I have seen how nicer it is when you crumple it, because it gives those folds and creases that later on when you paint. You have seen that in the past works. When you paint it, it gives it an old look. Okay, so there it is. Now so once this is painted inside and out, you have to let it dry. When you do this in the morning and it's sunny outside, you bring it under the sun, under the hot sun, the hot glaring sun, and it's going to dry fast. Don't forget the underside, okay, and the inside. So once this is painted, let's move fast forward. I have prepared something already so that, it won't take time. The video won't take time. Now, it would appear like this. As I was saying, this and the sample I'm using here, these two samples are from the pork and beans can, but the one I'm using now is the one from the pineapple juice. Why did I choose this? Because it has bigger surface, the size of the fairy. When I put it here, it would look nice. So imagine I would have a fairy here sitting down, maybe a fairy flying somewhere here, or another fairy looking up at the sky, at the stars. Okay, and then I'm going to add some mushrooms or cutouts of blades of grass. Just some, if you have some cardboard like this one here, after cutting the fairies, the excess, I could cut them into small flowers or some blades of grass. Or you can maybe use a branch or a stick, a dry branch or stick, so that you can have a branch from a tree, or like something like a tree trunk. Just a tip, guys, if you're going to use a dry branch of a tree, make sure you remove the bark, especially the part that's going to be stuck to the surface. Okay, make sure you use a knife, remove the bark where you're going to apply the glue. Why? Because if you still have the bark where you're going to apply the glue, and the one that will be in contact with the can, when time will come, that bark will get brittle, and the whole branch that you used will be removed. Whereas if you scrape off the bark, and you would see the inner wood, and put the glue, okay, the construction adhesive, it would stick there and it will last longer. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to let this dry because it's raining outside, so it's still moist. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you. I'm going to cut out these. Okay, I'm not going to show you how to cut them, right? Because it takes time, especially using the X-Acto knife for those small holes in the wings, between the inside the wings. It would take time, very meticulous. Okay, so I'm going to do is tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning, when it's we have the natural light, I'll be cutting the fairies that I'll be using. I might use this fairy here, or maybe one of them, like this one, the one with the lamp, and maybe another fairy here, this one here, or maybe this one. I'm going to choose, or maybe this one. Okay, so when you're going to have something printed, this is a cardboard, a hardboard paper, not the bond paper, not the regular paper, but it's a hard piece of paper that you can buy at the bookstore. So I'm going to cut it, and then tomorrow I'm going to show you how to glue them here. We'll put mushrooms and maybe artificial flowers, maybe a branch. I'm going to look for a branch. If not, I'm going to show you another alternative. I might use pulp paper. Pulp paper, guys, is, like for example, you get some old tissue paper, soak them overnight, cut them into pieces, or maybe some tissue paper, table napkin, soak them in water, put them in your mixer, the blender, add some water, and then they will be blended, into shreds. And then after that, you squeeze the water out. And then when it's ready to use for you to use it, you add equal some glue to the paper pulp so that they will take shape here and attach itself here. So I'm going to show that to you. I have some paper pulp I made months ago. It has hardened, it has dried up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak it in water tomorrow until it's softer, and then I'll add glue and make a tree, a tree here, or maybe a rock where the fairy would be sitting. Okay, so I'll see you on the next video. So start looking for your cans and have pictures of your fairies printed. Again, if you don't like fairies, you might want to use a dragon. For the dragon, make sure you add, like the black knights, the armor of the knights, the shield with the sword. Those would go well with the dragons. Dragons remind me of this series on Netflix, the one with the dragons of Daenerys. What is that? My niece used to watch that. Daenerys. She had 3 dragons, right? Okay, so, or if you want, if you're fond of sci-fi, maybe you can get an image of the creature from the movie Alien versus Predator. Those small creatures that crawl. Okay, and use them if you don't like fairies. Okay, so see you tomorrow, or see you in the next video.